Well, I got a full tank of gas, and now I'm off on my journey up towards Crater Lake National Park. I won't spend tonight in the park. They're completely filled, so I'll be camping to the east of the park around the small town of Chiloquin, somewhere in that area. And the Nomad's just about to turn 6,000 miles. And there it is, 6,000 miles on my Tenere 700. Today is a bit of a melancholy day for me. I am saying goodbye to my Yamaha Tenere 700. This is going to be the last trip that I take. I'm going on an overnighter towards Crater Lake in southern Oregon. I'm doing what I'm calling a lap of Crater Lake. I'm going to take a lap around Crater Lake with my T7. I'm going to camp for the night somewhere outside of the park because the campgrounds are full in the park. But it'll be most likely my last ride, definitely my last overnight ride. I might have a few short rides, and then I'm going to sell the T7. Now, if you followed my channel, I recently had a video about downsizing from my T7. The T7's a mid-size bike. It's got pretty decent horsepower, I think 74 horsepower, something like that. It's got a lot of torque. There's a lot of real positive things about it. But it's a little more than I need, and at times a little more than I can handle. As I've said before, I'm getting older and recuperating from some injuries and kind of figuring out what my riding style really is, and some aspects of the T7 I really like. It's this type of road is really good on these paved twisties. But I've said before, there's some parts that are a bit of a deal breaker for me on what I want to do now that I'm in my almost mid-70s. I'm not a hardcore off-road rider, so even though this has got pretty good specs for going off-road, it's pretty good specs for something that I don't really do. I ride quite a bit off-road, but it's what I would call mild, so it's on dirt forest roads, some gravel, every once in a while a little bit of rock. But I'm not jumping this thing and doing all kinds of crazy stuff on single tracks and through all kinds of weather. And as I've said, the parts of the T7 that I really don't care for, I don't like the weight. I've found out that, I think my limit's around 400 pounds, and this is 450 wet. And then once I put all the tools and camping gear and everything else on it, it's getting up there. And the other part of it, as I said before, it's a top-heavy bike, and I've never felt a bike so top-heavy before. Not that I've ridden, dozens and dozens of bikes, but this one's a little top-heavy. So once it starts to lean, and when you're coming to a stop, or especially, it just can go over, and I'm not strong enough to keep it from going over all the time. And as I said before, I don't like the seat height. I've lowered it though, so it's satisfactory now. And I've decided I really don't like tube tires. I've had to change it in the field once, and man, that was an all-day affair. I really don't want to have to do that. So I'd rather go tubeless. There's probably options to go tubeless on a T7, but the other aspects of it, So this will be my last ride, and I'm going to enjoy it though. It's a beautiful day. The weather should be fine. It's relatively clear. There's a couple of wildfires to the north of me, but they're not pumping out a great deal of smoke. So I'm just going to enjoy a little bit of riding on this windy, twisty road on my T7 for the last time.
Howdy.
Hi. What's up?
We just had some tree falling, but
Some what?
some tree falling going on, but they just dropped it, so I'm about to get out of the way.
Oh, so is it okay to go through then?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to hit any tree, right?
No, don't want anything.
Here, it looks like might get into some loose gravel. All right, I made it to Rocky Point, which is in Pelican Bay on the upper Klamath Lake. Okay, I got the Nomad parked, and here I am on the resort. They have boats for rent and campsites. I've come up fishing and kayaking in this area. It's really quite nice. But I am hungry. Time to eat. As you can see, there's a lot of fires have been in the area, so I think it's open. Well, I'm camped along the beautiful Williamson River. This is the upper reaches, the upper Williamson River. It flows into Klamath Lake, and it's known as a world-class fly fishing river. Not this section that I'm in now, but down lower. A lot of the large native red band cutthroat trouts, rainbow trout, come up out of Klamath Lake in the summer when it gets really hot. Klamath Lake is very shallow, and they come up to the cool spring-fed waters of the upper reaches of the river here. And it's fairly shallow right here. I'm not sure how many fish are in this particular area because it is slow moving and shallow. I'll tell you one thing though, there are a lot of mosquitoes here right now, so I'm going to head back to my camp. But what a beautiful place to go out and moto camp. Yes, I'm liking it because I was missing it. Well, a nice camp spot and a quiet campground. Have the tent all set up. I am real chair, and I've got a cold beer, just eating some Cheetos and chasing the chipmunks and enjoying moto camping once more.
Well, good morning. It slept well last night. It's a little chilly this morning. Tough to get out of that warm sleeping bag, but I'm going to get up and get my coffee.
And yeah, I'm going to miss that kind of rugged look. And coming in last night, I noticed these bags of pine cones in plastic bags on the side of the road. There's bags everywhere. And I wasn't sure why is somebody picking up these pine cones. It can't be for fire protection. There's just pine cones everywhere. I asked the campground host when I was leaving, and she said there's a craft company that takes these pine cones and makes them into crafts and sells them at craft stores like up at Crater Lake National Park and other places. So this area must have the perfect pine cone. About 120 miles yesterday, and today I've got a lot more than that to go, and I do carry an extra liter of gas just in case I'm close to running out and I can get myself out to some main road and flag someone down if I need to be. But I got a full tank now. That should get me all the way home today. Off to do a lap around Crater Lake. Well, back there is Crater Lake. It's the volcano that was Mount Mazama. Was 12,000 feet. Is no longer there and created the crater for Crater Lake. My destination for today. Beautiful day. Good morning. How you doing? Let me put it out of gear here. Let's see. I've got a couple passes.
For the basic entry pass.
Can I get in with the senior pass? Can?
That's even better. You don't have to spend any money.
I know. I like that.
Do you need a map?
I've got one from a previous visit.
Okay, then you're all set.
I'm set. Thank you. Yeah, that's one thing that's nice about the about being a senior and having one of the access passes. I use it all the time. Get into national parks for free and reduced fees for camping. My last night was only $5 to camp. Well, I'm on the east rim of Crater Lake, starting my lap around the lake. As you can see, there's no lake here, right? Much of the rim drive around Crater Lake is away from the actual caldera of the lake, since the caldera is a steep rim of the extinct volcano. But we'll get in and out, get some views of the lake along the ride. It will be a very pleasant ride. It's not a lot of traffic here today, which is surprising. A lot of the national parks get quite a few visitors. Crater Lake is a popular park, but it's not one of the top visited ones in the U.S. Crater Lake gets about 530 inches of snow a year. The rim road oftentimes does not open up until July or late June because the snows just linger on. Now, I've come up here in the past and I've gone cross-country skiing, which is one of the things I do for my senior moments. And it's an enjoyable place to ski at. You have to be aware, though, of avalanches and not get yourself in too much trouble. I will check out the first view of the lake on my rim drive on my lap. It's pretty nice here. The little island over there is called the Phantom Ship because it looks a little bit like a phantom ship. Beautiful clear lake. Closed. Oh my gosh. I might not make my rim drive then. It looks like the rim is closed on the east side here. Let me see what's going on with these guys. Hey. So the road's closed here? And if I take the other rim drive, I'm going to run into a closed road coming back the other way too, right?
Yeah. Well, you can access the trail. If that's where you're headed.
No, I'm just trying to do a lap around the lake. Not good.
7.5 miles is closed.
7.5 miles is closed. All right. Wow. Is it just doing work on the road or repairs? All right. I'll go to the other rim and see how far I can get that way. Just riding on. Thank you. So that ends my planned doing a lap around Crater Lake. Looks like they're working on it for quite a few miles. So I've turned around on the East Rim Drive. I'm going to go back and see if I can do a few miles on the West Rim Drive, get some views from over there. Obviously, I'm not going to make it around going on that side either. Run into the same roadblock 7 miles down. Oh well, sometimes things don't always go as planned when you're on an adventure ride, right? Well, and I can see here on the West Rim, there's a sign that's going to be closed up ahead as well. And goodbye, Crater Lake. Didn't quite do the whole rim, but I still enjoyed it. And some people call Oregon, driving Oregon, the green curtain because there's so many trees, big tall trees. You don't get a lot of views because you get the forest instead of the views. Well, I'm not that far from my home now. Just been taking paved roads. I ran out of time today to take some dirt roads. I kind of wanted to, but I realized there was going to be a push. I'm also getting a little bit tired, so I don't want to push myself that hard either. Anyhow, yeah, I'm going to miss the T7. There's things about the T7 that I really like. I like the power. I like the torque. It's good on this type of a road and going on a one-nighter, an overnighter, which I like to do, and it seems the T7 has been able to serve me well for that type of riding. It's just a little uncomfortable when I start getting off balance on dirt and gravel, and as I mentioned, the top heaviness is concerning for me. So smaller bike, a little less weight, center of gravity a little lower. think I'll feel more confident. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video like I enjoyed my little trip. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time on one of my senior moments.